Hello everybody, I am currently located in Gas City. I just delivered to the Walmart DC. This is kind of like the little side yard over here. Oh shit. I forgot to light my tandems. So I do apologize I did not record. I just kind of forgot, unfortunately. But yeah, this is like their little side yard. The Walmart DC is down that way about a mile. So, not a bad though, DC. Kind of doesn't make any sense to me though. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Enough. I don't want to hit our trailer back there. But yeah, they sent me over here to get an empty, and so that's what I did. Now there was a trailer over there. Yeah, you know, I'm a little surprised at how just in the middle of nowhere this is. Although it's kind of understandable. It's hard to get locals to be happy and agree with a big old distribution center in the middle of their town. Heck, they don't even like truck stops. You know, with just the amount of trucks, I've heard stories of. I think that Love's. This is a long time ago that I heard this. I don't even remember where it was at. But what happened was Love's wanted to build a truck stop in this small town, I do believe, and the locals wanted to fight it because they don't want, you know, all the truck traffic and whatnot. They built it anyways. You know, the city approved it and whatnot, but locals will go, you know, pretty much do their best to try to stop something from happening. We are good. Yeah, you know, it just doesn't really make any sense to me because there's like 2 or 3 distribution centers in like Indy, and there's one in Seymour, Indiana, which is about maybe an hour, 2 hours away from Indianapolis, so I guess they just like to put them everywhere. Nice to be back on the highway though. I spent a good 100 miles just driving country roads. Well, they weren't really country roads, but there were U.S. highways or byways, as we call them. Well, they're nice to drive. You know, it's a nice scenic route. You can see, you know, some small towns, you know, some pretty good looking towns. Some just watch the cars rust up. GPS is messing up, of course. There it goes. But yeah, you know, when it comes to highways and stuff, they're, like I said, they're nice to drive on. You know, it's nice to get away from the busy interstates and stuff like that, but they have their pros and cons. One of the biggest cons is it's a slower route. So it takes a little bit longer to get there than it would be on an interstate, at least most of the time anyways. Also, kind of another big con that you really have to watch out and pay attention to is making sure you don't go the wrong way. Because you going the wrong way can end up putting you down a road that you're not supposed to be on. Or if you mess up, make a wrong turn, or miss your turn, it might be a good while before you're able to find another way to turn around. Sometimes you have to get creative, but as I said, that can also get you in a lot of trouble. So put you in a place that you're not really supposed to be, or situation you don't want to be in. So as I said, they have their pros and cons. This also brings up an interesting story. So this was time that I was working for CRC, and I think I've talked about this in the past, but it's been a while. So I had a code driver, and I've talked about code drivers before, but this guy that I was having a code drive with had absolutely no business being in the truck. He had no idea what he was doing, and he constantly underestimated a semi-truck. So one day he was up here driving, I was back there sleeping, or at least trying to sleep, and we're someplace in like Kansas. I don't remember where it was. This was a couple of years ago, but we were in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Kansas. This dude missed his turn, and he decided, oh, I see a whole bunch of farming equipment. I can use this to turn around. I knew this was a pretty tight, you know, area to fit in. I'm even surprised we even got out of the freaking place. You know, it was just a bunch of really, really old, run-down farming equipment just sitting there. In kind of a muddy field, pretty much. And he tries to go through this field. Buddy, I'm still asleep. He wakes me up. The only thing I see is we're in the middle of a freaking field, surrounded by freaking old-ass, rusty farm equipment, and we get stuck. And so I'm trying to get figure out how we're going to get out of here. He got the truck. He almost put the freaking truck in the ditch. Well, it pretty much did. He got the truck caught on kind of like a, kind of hard to explain, like the lip of a ditch. Got it caught on there, and I could not get the truck out. I think I actually ended up burning the transmission out because I was trying to get us out of there. And obviously we weren't, so we waited 4 hours to get a tow truck. We caught a lot of attention. We caught the police attention. The sheriff was not very happy that we were doing this. The owner showed up. He was not happy. And, you know, I was over here like, you know, I was back there asleep. I had nothing to do with this. So, you know, we didn't get tickets or anything like that, but the tow truck finally arrived after 4 hours or something like that. And finally got us out. And I think they got taken to a nearby Freightliner dealership. It was a Freightliner, by the way. And we got a hotel that night. You know, this guy was freaking dick anyways. You know, if you're going to team drive with somebody, you got to be willing to make compromises. You got to be willing to get along with each other. You got to be willing to somewhat agree with each other. So, one of the biggest things that just freaking drove me nuts, and so that I don't quite understand his logic, is he always wanted to do things that he wanted to do. Like, you know, when you're out here, it's almost best to stick together. So, you know, if there's a phone call or the truck needs to start moving, you're together and you can figure stuff out. He wanted to go eat at places he wants to eat. There's nothing I can do to convince him to go eat someplace else or something like that. And so, while I get in a way, you know, you should be able to have, you know, the ability to do that. You know, sometimes, like I said, it's just best to stick together. Because you don't know when you're going to get a phone call or anything like that. And then you're gonna have the company mad at you because you guys decided to go do whatever you want, and they have a load for you, or they need the truck moving, and you guys are not together, and you know, then there's miscommunication, and then there's, you know, delayed loads and everything. So but yeah, you know, ultimately that was the last straw for me. That was like pretty close. I knew I did not want to team drive ever again. Unfortunately, I did one last time, and it didn't last long. I think I've told this story before, but this was a different driver. He was a pretty big dick too. I don't know what happened with that. Was gonna take this exit here, which is 35 southbound here. I'm going to Franklin, Ohio, by the way. And out in Franklin, Ohio is delivering to, it's a city that I can't pronounce. It's in Virginia. Great miles, so I'm not going to complain. Yeah, so this is just another great example. I know we got a little bit too much into team driving, but I'm just going over my experiences again. I've already started, so get out of here. Maybe our only chance. I guess just gonna have to hold us there. Anyways, so moving on to the other co-driver. So I believe this was after Christmas. I think it was actually closer to on New Year's, a little bit after New Year's, I think. And we were due to get back on the truck. And so I am, you know, am the one that has the truck. So I tell him, you know, what time I'm going to meet him there. I think there was an issue or something like that. That's what I remember. There was an issue with the load, and I was delayed. The load got canceled. And so I had to wait for a few hours, and I let him know that hey, I'm having issues with the load. And I really wanted this load too. This load was really, really good. It was going down to Oregon, which I have yet to be down to Oregon. It's one state that I've not visited yet. And so I let him know that I think I had to wait a couple hours or something like that, or I think it's close to like 10 hours or something like that. I had to wait for another load, and I think this was beginning to be New Year's, so I let them know that, you know, I eventually did get a load, and I told him that I was on my way. And he's like, come get me tomorrow or whatever. It was like, no, you're going to get on this truck. If you do not get on this truck when I come by, I'm leaving your butt. And I texted him that, you know, and he refused to get on this truck. He would not answer me, and I believe I had a load headed down to Wisconsin, so I literally left him without him. And I told the company this and stuff like that, and they were you know, pretty much in the process of taking them off my truck, pretty much. And so, for whatever reason, I don't know, they decided to do a small load with me. And I think they were trying to figure out, this is kind of when I started to move towards a solo position. They were trying to get that, you know, in the works for me at the time. And so I had to go with them on a little trip. And I did not tell them this until it was the last minute that, you know, he was going to get off my truck. And so what ultimately ended up happening was we did get into a little bit of a fight. Nothing physical, but we got into an argument. And you know, I literally told this guy as soon as we got to where he needed to be to get the hell off my truck. So that's exactly what happened. And that was literally it for my team driving experience. And I will never team drive again, unless it's with a really, really close friend or family member that I know, which I don't really know anybody that, you know, drives a truck in my family, so, or any friends that are even near close to me. So, yeah, that will most likely never happen again. Unless if it was, I had just about worked for a company that kind of had like a partner thing going on where you both get your own truck and you both were given a load. Well, it wasn't really a load. What they did was they delivered brand new trailers from Great Dane and sometimes Utility. And so you would get, you know, 2 trailers that were going to the same location, and then between, you know, you would both have to really decide this. You would hook up the truck, like tow a truck. You know, it didn't really matter which, and you both ride together back in the same truck, which would not be bad. I think it'd be okay with that, you know. It's probably more just save fuel and whatnot. this guy found him a little spot to sleep at. I guess he must rent a spot there. It's a little bit challenging to get into though. You'd have to back from the street. Thinking, I guess, you know, in a small town like this, you wouldn't really have very many places to park. But I'm assuming you could just, you know, with most of the houses through here, you could just build a driveway large enough and just park in the driveway. But that would be my dream one day. To have a house like one of these, like in the middle of nowhere. You know, with enough room that I could park my truck in. You know, I didn't have to worry about driving back and forth to Indy and stuff like that. That's only a dream though. Alright guys, so I think we go ahead and wrap this video up here, and I actually have a fueling stop here that I think we're going to do a video there for you guys. So I will see you, I believe I'm stopping at the Loves in Richmond, Indiana, so I will see you guys when we get down there. Bye.